Okay. Well, I guess then we'll go with audio. So I guess they won't get a chance to see your beautiful face today. Well, Paul, so just to give you a little bit of an introduction, we've been doing business for a while now. We've been financing a lot of your fix and flip projects. And just to say a little bit about you, I mean, so we know that you've been working in real estate since 1999. You've been a little bit in and out, as you mentioned, and then in 2015, you started taking this really serious. And that's when you kind of bunkered down. In 2017, 2 years later, you kind of quit your job. You left the corporate America field, and you said, hey, I couldn't be my own boss. And well, you're doing a really good job since. You've been making about 60,000 profit on each of his deals on average. And I believe you're doing mostly Jersey. You even got your Jersey real estate salesperson's license. And now you're pretty much doing about 10 deals a month. So there's a lot that we could learn from 10 deals a year. I'm sorry. 10 deals a year. Well, there's definitely a lot that we could learn from someone like yourself. And I know I'm excited to hear from you. And I'm sure we have a lot of people here too right now that are as well. Just to let everybody know, we also have Martin Chera with us. He is the CEO, the founder of Express Capital Financing. Through all of his hard work, his grit, he was able to really be able to provide a structure that offers value to real estate investors, not just on the financing, whether it's through the help, the coaching through it, or even just providing education. So we're here to help. We're here to answer your questions. We'll definitely have some time for question and answers towards the end of the webinar. So just to let everybody know, try to keep the questions in the chat section, or you could use the question and A also, but I'll probably be seeing the chats a little, I'll be noticing them more. So Paul, I guess, talk to me a little bit. How's everything been so far?
Things are pretty good, actually. With everything going on with the pandemic, I thought it would be easier to find deals, that there would be more out there. What I'm finding is there's a lot of competition right now. I see a lot of contractors bidding on these houses, bank houses, and I'm just assuming that everybody wants to keep their employees working. So this might be something that that they're doing until business picks up. But I noticed that sometimes there's 4 or 5 of us bidding on houses when they come up. So thought it would get easier. Not really. You still gotta look real hard for the deals. And then on the sell side, what I've noticed is I put a house on the market. I think it hit the market Thursday. And we went through last weekend.
Paul, you there? Hey, Paul?
Yeah. Are you there?
We're here.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes. Now we do.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Not sure when I got cut off, but basically on the sell side, after the houses are done, I was saying that I put it on the market, and a couple days later, I got a full price offer. So there's still a lot of demand for the houses, which is good. And prior to that, I had 4 houses under contract to sell when this whole pandemic happened, and all 4 of them closed, Friday being the last one. So right now, I'm not seeing much of a difference, other than they're a little bit slower to come on the market from the banks. But it seems to be pretty good in that respect. So if we have fix and flip people on the webinar, then hopefully they're experiencing the same thing, a nice, strong market.
Absolutely. It's good to hear that there's still investors both on the market and the retail buyers. That's definitely good news for everybody involved. You want to say something?
Yeah, so Paul, what would you recommend to newbies and existing investors now that the prices are still staying the same or maybe even going up? Is there any strategies that you're using that you could suggest to our investors?
Yeah, so the best strategy that works for me is be conservative with your numbers. You make money when you buy. You only collect when you sell. So, just I use 65% of the after repaired value. I never use 70, and I very rarely will pay even 65% of the ARV. So do you have to look at a few more houses? Yes. But don't be one of those guys when I don't get a deal and I look at it later, I see that they paid way too much, and you can get hurt that way. So I suggest that you just take your time and make sure you buy them right.
Absolutely. That's very important words right there. The money is all in the buy. That's why a lot of us are really, really excited, hopefully for prices to come down. But at the same time, hopefully they don't. Let's hope that we could keep the same economy we had and just keep moving forward from there. But Paul, let's talk a little about, I'm sure when you first got started, you were in a completely different market. Obviously, nobody was in a market like this when they first got started. So what would you say were some of the differences or even similarities that you can use or have used to help you do deals in this market?
Well, you're right. When I started again in 2015, there were a lot of deals. They were easy to come by. Mm-hmm. And back then, I was strictly using the multiple listing to find my deals. I'm going to fast forward to today. We're obviously buying more properties today than we did in 2015. And I got to tell you, most of my deals come from the multiple listing still, and online auctions. Online auctions are, if you know how to work them, they're also a great source for deals.
And when you're saying online auctions, I'm assuming auction.com, Hubzu, those type of websites. Great.
Yep, auction.com is the big one. A matter of fact, I'm getting ready to close on one that I'm buying tomorrow. We got that one from Hubzu. But the HUD Home Store is also a great place to find good deals. But the biggest one is auction.com.
Beautiful. And so auction.com, learning that obviously back in the day, I'm assuming you're spending most of your time on there now, or are you spending most of your time boots on the ground and still going to see properties physically?
Yeah, I kind of have a very unique way of buying houses. First, my son works for me, and his job is to strictly hunt for deals every single day. And so what happens is we set up an email system through the MLS. And so we get the emails every morning, the back on markets, the new ones that fall under our criteria, or the price reductions. Those are the key houses that come on the market. So we look at those every morning. And so he'll do that. And then usually 3 days out of the week, we have strong, a lot of auctions. And so he'll do the auctions those 3 days a week. So, but we're looking for them every day.
Gotcha. Okay, so you never stop.
No, it's a constant battle. You got to keep them coming in through the top of the funnel so you can get the good ones that drip out of the bottom.
Absolutely. So Paul, tell me a little bit about your strategy regarding where you're looking for deals. So now your son goes out there and you tell him, hey, I need you to find me a deal every day. Where is he looking? Is he going in your backyard? Is he going to certain neighborhoods based off of rates that you see there or price points?
Yeah. So, what I would say about that is, everybody's in a different area. And, it's nice to be able to do deals in your own backyard. But many times that's not possible. So you have to just expand the area in which you work. I noticed that when I wholesale houses to other investors, they have a very specific area. They'll tell me, hey, look, if you get anything in the Greenville section of Jersey City, New Jersey, then think of me. And if you do that, like I explained to him, you're going to really limit yourself in terms of how many deals you do. Me personally, I work in 4 counties, which is around me. And, maybe an hour and a half out is the longest. But that's what I need to do to bring in a deal a month. So that's what I do.
Okay. Interesting. So you kind of go out there. Now, where are you basing these 4 counties off of? Are these based off of price points or more around you just know the area and that's why you want to be there?
Well, I'm in one of the counties and the other 3 counties are sort of around me. So just trying to keep it as close to my own backyard, but going as far as an hour and a half or 2 hours, that's sort of where it landed me with those 4 counties. And each some of the towns in the county are a little bit different, but here's the thing, whatever town you're working in, you got to be in the first time home buyer sweet spot. And
Right.
the thing I'll tell you about that, because they sell fast and it's always a great market for those, but you just got to be careful not to go into the rental price range, because there are rental areas, but if you're flipping houses, you want to be a cut above that. You want to be in the lower priced homeowners areas where people are looking to buy a house to live. That's where you're going to do your best.
Absolutely. It's always good to make sure that your absorption rate is good and making sure that you fit into where those properties stand in the market. You never want to be in the properties that sell once a year, once every, or even obviously more often than that, but you never want to be the luxury spot unless you specialize in that and know what you're doing.
Yep.
So, Paul, now you figured out your locations, you know where you want to be. Tell me now more about how you decide which assets you want to actually move forward with. What do you want to flip? You staying away from certain assets?
Yeah, so I look for bread and butter houses, which are 3 to 5 bedrooms, at least 1.5 baths on up, in the price range that I'm looking for, which is, for me, in my area, is between $200,000 and $400,000. That's the sweet spot. I look for houses that are detached, nice neighborhoods, 1 or 2 stories, either a ranch, a colonial, something average to the neighborhood. And I look, like I said, for a minimum of 3 bedrooms. I don't like 2-bedroom houses because they're tough to sell. So I look for 3 bedrooms, and if they have 1 bath, I always look for a place to put in another bath. So it's at least 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths.
Beautiful. So do you ever,
and then, there are houses also that you have to avoid.
Absolutely. So what do you avoid?
You there?
Paul, did we lose you?
Nope, I'm here.
Awesome. So, so what types of properties, or what's a sign for you that you need to pass on a certain property? Paul? Paul, can you hear us?
So just everyone.
Okay, yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay,
Okay,
he's back
great.
on.
Awesome. So yeah, so we were just talking about the properties that you, or signs of
Yes, I can.
something that you would avoid. We lost him completely now.
Sorry about that, folks. We'll get him back on. But just to introduce myself, I'm Marty Chera from Express Capital Financing. We're a direct nationwide hard money lenders. Paul's coming back on. But again, please put your questions in the Q&A. We'll answer anything about investments, strategies, any way that we can help you to create your wealth in real estate, especially in today's market. Just tell you from a lender's perspective, like Paul said, today is the when there's uncertainty, there's opportunity. And millionaires are made in a recession and billionaires are made in a depression. And unfortunately, we're headed to a possible depression. So take your time, find the properties out there. If you need help with us from a lender to do your search with the properties, your due diligence, making sure that there's good profits, where the market trends are going, we're here to help you and guide you. So we're just waiting for Paul to come back on. You on, Paul? I see him, he's on.
Let's see, he's on. I don't think he hears us. Just bear with us for the technical difficulties.
So if
Apologies.
anybody has any questions in the meantime, you could put them in there and I'll try to answer them. What we lend on
Are you
is
there?
short-term financing, 1 to 4 units, nationwide. Any investors, developers, landlords, contractors. If you don't have all the 10, 20% down, give us a call. We could possibly talk JV opportunities together. We can introduce you to possible gap funders, title insurance. If you need lawyer resources, we're here to help and guide you to build, like I said, your wealth. We're also a long-term permanent financer. So for the investors that are looking to hold on to the properties, and it doesn't just have to be the 1 to 4 units. It could be commercial properties, multifamily, mixed use. We're lending on that as well too. Current platform, just everybody to know, is about 80% of the purchase, 100% of the reno, 65% of the ARV, minimum score 650, and this is all mid-COVID. Once COVID is over, we can go to 90 and 100, 70, 75 ARV, and we have no minimum FICO scores. So we can work with newbies, experienced investors, and you can even mix up the deal where if you got the money, somebody else has got the experience, somebody else has got the credit, we can mix any of the 2 or 3 to get your deals done. So one question was asked, do you lend on CRE? Yes, we do.
Absolutely. So Paul, could you just confirm that you hear us and you're there? Tell me he hears us.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go.
Okay, so he's back on. Okay, great.
Hey, nothing good comes easy. Just remember that. So let's see if we can get this information, Paul. So tell us, I'll repeat the question one more time, just so everyone's on the same page. What are some signs or properties that you don't like? What would you pass on just because of a simple fact that's there? Maybe it's small, maybe it's too big.
Yeah, actually, both of those. I don't like I said, a small house with 2 bedrooms or less. I'm looking to stay in a certain price range. And for me, I look for detached houses. So I'm not looking for anything that's functionally obsolete, such as walking through 1 bedroom to get into another bedroom. I'm just looking for houses that are average to the area, that they're not too small, and that there's nothing hanky about the inside. Especially sometimes houses, when they're older, they've added on to it and they just like put different squares in the house, and it's not really laid out very well. So if we can't fix the layout or add a bathroom, or it's too small, we'll pass on it.
Understood. So for those of you guys out there, what he's saying in simple terms is he's looking for your everyday house. He's not looking for the biggest house in the block that's going to sell for more because it's so beautiful. He's not looking for the smallest house in the block that's going to sell for the cheapest just because it's an easy sell. He's looking for the median property. Is that pretty accurate, Paul?
Yep. I call them the
Awesome.
bread and butter properties.
Yep. So now you mentioned also that you always want to make sure that the properties you're purchasing are going to be able to be sold to your everyday home buyer also. So they want to be first FHA maybe eligible or making sure that it fits into that price range. What are some steps or things that you look at or care about to make sure that you're going to be able to sell this to a Fannie Mae property or FHA buyer?
Yeah, well, basically the fact that it's 3 or more bedrooms, that it's in that first-time home buyer price range. Those are the ones that sell quickly. And if you do a good job fixing it up, you don't usually have a problem with FHA when they do their inspections. And mainly the price range is the main factor.
Absolutely. And for those of you who don't know, you're able to literally go on Google and type in what are FHA loan amounts in whichever state or county you're in, and they are there. So you will know what FHA will lend on a maximum amount and what the purchase price could be. So now, Paul, I know you spoke about this already, as far as where you find your deals. You mentioned that you do a lot on the MLS. You set up your searches. You make sure that, you're getting the new listings in, the price improvements. What are some other sources that you have found some of your properties on, or some things that you do every day?
Yeah, so mainly, like you said, MLS and online auctions. I have a couple of places that I advertise. Matter of fact, this last deal that I'm probably going to close in a couple of weeks on was from an ad from a local treasure hunt newspaper, and that's going to be a pretty good deal. So that was, he reached out to me from my ad, so I've done stuff like that. We do mailings. In the past, I've done bandit signs and billboards and all those things you see. We buy houses. I did all of that, and you spend a lot of money and you don't always get a lot of results. So my favorites are the multiple listing and the online auctions. That's where I get most of them.
Beautiful, beautiful. So you're looking for the properties that are asking to be sold and ready to be sold.
That's right. And with COVID, they're vacant. There's no issues getting in them. And when you're ready to sell them, they're vacant and there's no issues with people coming to look at them.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Paul, tell me a little bit more. I mean, is your formula for buying a house that simple, where you just want to make sure that you're at 65%? I know you said you don't usually hit 70, but maybe here and there. Or do you take it a little bit deeper than that?
Yeah. So, as far as the ARV, I mean, that's step number one, very important. You have to establish what this house is going to sell for once it's fixed. And the best way to do that is you have to be able to pull comps. You have to be able to see similar houses in a similar size, in a similar area, and see what they sell for. That's the first important number that you need. If that number is wrong, everything is going to be wrong. So let's, if you have to, lean on a real estate agent to get you comps on a particular deal, you should do that because that number is very important. Then the number that I use is 65%. I never use 70. I know some people use 70, but I'm always looking for a home run, a real good deal. And so I start at 65. I can tell you this house that we just listed for 229. We got full price for it. This was a house I paid 40,000 for. So it's much less than the 60%. But again, you use the 65% or even 60 in this market. And then you figure out your repairs. You know, for me, figuring repairs is easy because I've been doing it a while. But this is the area I think that trips up the most people, is dealing with contractors and being able to get the house fixed.
Absolutely.
And
There's
what
no question.
most newbies do is they underestimate what it's going to cost to fix the houses. So you got to be very careful about that. I know it cost me approximately on a 2-story house that's an older home, it cost me about $40 a square foot to rehab that property. And on a single-story property, it cost me about $35. And of course, you know, there are some variables outside of that, but you know, that's how I figure my repairs, and I'm usually pretty close. And then you come up with the MAYO, the maximum allowable offer, and you should never ever offer that price. You should always offer less than that, at least 5 or 10% less than that.
Gotcha. To save yourself some room for negotiation.
Some room for negotiations, and also other things that come into play is if the house is really bad and there's going to be a lot less competition on this house because maybe it's been on the market for a while, I'm going to go less. If it doesn't need a whole lot of repairs and I know there's going to be more competition, I'll get closer to the MAYO.
Okay. Fair enough.
And just to explain to everybody what he's saying about the MAYO, its maximum allowable offer, he's taking that 65% of the ARV. So if the ARV is 100 grand, the maximum he's offering is 65,000, and let's assume the rehab is 25,000. So he's maximum offer on the purchase is 40 grand plus the 25 in the rehab to get to that 65,000 to get to that 65 ARV. That's the max $40,000 purchase price that he would offer. But Paul, I have a question. How do you determine your ARV besides with the MLS listing? Are there any other resources that you use to get to that to find your ARV comps?
Yeah, there is a software program. It's just my personal preference. There are a few of them out there, but I use a software program called REI Pro, and they have MLS comp built right into the software. And so if I'm looking at a house in an area outside my area, that is definitely the best way to get some good comps.
So besides the MLS listing and REI Pro, are there any other resources that you could suggest to these investors out there to get their actual comps? Like how about Zillow? What's the other one, Max?
Trulia, there's Property Shark.
Realty Track. Do you use those to get your comps?
No, I mostly rely on the MLS because it is the most reliable tool. But if some reason I don't have access to the solds on the MLS, the next best thing is the REI Pro. And I think that if I didn't have that, I would really have to rely on a local realtor to provide me some comps. You can do it in Zillow. You just got to be careful. Don't use the Zestimate. Really look at the sold prices. But you probably couldn't get something close to the ARV as well using Zillow.
And that's pretty accurate as well. I would agree with that. The MLS is your holy grail for your ARV. It's going to tell you exactly what has happened in the past in that market, and you won't have to guess. At that point, it's pretty much stats, and you're just reading it. What happens is a lot of newbies get lost in reading it, and they see a higher number, and they try to find a way to comp their house to that house. So it's just a matter of knowing which ones to use. Where you get them from does not matter. If you have access to the MLS, that's your best bet. If you do not, if you're in a disclosure state, Zillow is still a good option because Zillow is still going to tell you how much different properties have actually sold for, and they're getting it from the tax record. So it's accurate, and you could comp it from there. Again, the Zestimate is not something you should use for your ARV. But Paul, you touched on a very big topic, which is the repairs. There's endless amount of time that I feel like we could spend just talking about it and going back and forth on what's good and what's bad. But I guess talk to us from a basic standpoint as far as maybe what were some of the mistakes you made with your contractor or maybe doing the work on your first few deals that you have changed and are part of your systems today.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back to 2015 when I decided I wanted to fix and flip. I did have a little bit of experience, but I felt like I was starting new again. And what I did was on my first deal that when I started back up, I took on a contractor who was a partner. And, you know, what I quickly found out is that as he was going through it, we had definitely some differences of opinion. You know, he sort of had a family member that, you know, I guess it was his father, and he was on one door trying to get some paint off for a week. And that was a partnership I did once, and haven't done a partnership after that, but I felt I needed it because he was a contractor. So my lesson there is, first, if you're going to use contractors, get a few different bids. Make sure these guys are licensed, and they put down the details of what they're doing and what they're installing. That would be a suggestion. These days, I do have my own crew, and it does make it a lot easier. But to your question, what did I do at the beginning? Where did I make my mistake? I'll tell you, I think, you know, everybody knows that kitchens and bathrooms are the most important rooms in a house. They sell houses. Yep. And that house in 2015 had old cabinets and old countertops. And I sort of left them in because they were in good shape. I would not do that today. Today, when we go into a house to rehab it, every kitchen is new, every bathroom is new. When I say new, that means new countertops, granite, new cabinets, new tile floors, backsplash, new appliances. There's a lot of competition out there with flippers these days, and people expect to see new kitchens and bathrooms, and you get top dollar by doing that. So if you're in doubt, if you look at a kitchen, you say, gee, these cabinets are not that bad, or the countertop isn't that bad. My opinion is, if you're on the fence, change it. You want your house to be gorgeous when people come to see it.
Gotcha.
And people buy with their emotions, like Paul is saying, at the bathroom and the kitchen, which is most visited, most used. So when that emotion is being affected at how beautiful it is and how glamorous, and they could see themselves utilizing it, that's what's going to sell. So it's not so much the grass, it's not so much the aluminum siding versus the brick or the cement. It's what they're using every day in their lifestyle. Would you agree?
Absolutely. He's not wrong. People definitely shop. They shop logically but they buy emotionally. And that's going to take us into the next question, but I'll let you go, Paul, first.
No, I was just going to say, the other thing that I do is I sort of use the same materials. So I have a bathroom floor tile that I like. Looks expensive, but it's 49 cents a square foot. And, you know, when you find different items and different color schemes, you can use them over and over and over, especially if it's a winning combination. And that's what I do today. And it makes things a lot easier, both for my guys that are doing the work. Anyone can pick up material from Home Depot. They know what goes into the houses, and it just makes things a lot easier when you're rehabbing.
And I just want to retouch on what Paul was saying. Get 3 estimates. You got a $20,000, $30,000, a $40,000 estimate. Don't take the $20,000 because you know that guy's going to be 30 or 40 or getting you some way anyway. Find out what that difference on that $40,000 contractor is giving you versus the $30,000 guy or the $20,000 guy. So don't always go with the cheap because you're going to get cheap material. You're going to get a cheap service. The guy's not going to come back. And when you're in the real estate investment, the most important part of the job is the contractor. It's not the money, not the title, not the insurance. It ain't even the property or where it's at. It's your contractor. The quicker he's in, the quicker he's out. Your cost of money is cheaper. You're making a greater return by paying less money on taxes and insurance or your monthly interest payments on a hard money lender. So you want to have a good contractor who could service you, make them happy. Sometimes you may want to pay a few dollars more to get it done quicker because you're getting it done quicker, he's out. And then you could sell it quicker.
Absolutely. A dollar saved is not always a dollar earned. Sometimes it may cost you some time. Time equals money. So we have to definitely add that into the equation. And also, let's not forget, a lot of you fix and flippers right now are really doing a good job at setting yourself a brand with between your logos that you have on your shirt, you wear them around, you even wrap your car. And now you're having a property that you're selling. You don't want to have bad quality. You want to have a good name for it. You want people to have a good experience. You want people to love their house they're living in and want to even refer you, hopefully, to their friends and family when they're ready to buy.
And that's a great thing that Max is touching on, because when you're selling a property and you fixed it, you sold it, chances are that maybe their friends will tell them, hey, call up Paul. He's got a great property. He takes care of it. He does the maximum fixing up. It looks beautiful to purchase properties. So it's a connection. It's a networking thing. You sold a property to one seller already. Chances are maybe he'll say, you know what, call this guy Paul. He's got great properties, great repairs done, just moving in. And let's be honest, everybody wants service these days. What that service is, they just want to move in. They don't want to fix. They don't want to paint. They don't want to clean. They just want to move in, especially now with this pandemic that's around there. Everybody just wants to kind of move in, relocate to smaller, possibly bigger, but everybody wants a service. That service is, I just want to move in and get on with my life. And that's a good thing about selling to an end user.
Absolutely. Now, Paul, we mentioned something really interesting before, that people shop logically, but they buy emotionally. And what we mean by that is nobody as a person is going out and looking at overpriced cars and overpriced houses. They just don't want to do that. They're going to be logical about it. But once they find something they
Like, and they walk a property and they feel at home and they just fall in love with it, I'm sure you've seen a couple of times people have made an offer that they didn't think that they would make on it beforehand because they just fell in love with it emotionally. So with all that being said, Paul, what are some of the tactics you use when you're looking to sell a property and you're looking to put it back on the market? Obviously, anyone could go and just put it on Zillow. That's why they're called for sale by owners. It's very easy to do. Anyone could go and hire a realtor to put it on the market. But what's your secret sauce to making sure that these properties sell and for a top dollar?
Yeah, so one, obviously, you got to make sure the property is ready, making sure that you have a cleaning company come in and everything looks perfect when you list it. The way I list it, I use a broker, like a flat fee broker. And basically, the way that works is I want to get the property into the multiple listing, because once it goes out to all the realtors, you have a really good chance of getting it sold quickly, especially if your property is gorgeous. So, but who wants to pay 6% commissions? That's a big number. So I have a company, Continental Real Estate. It cost me, they charge me a flat fee of $199. I collect the information is in terms of pictures and room sizes, and I load the information online just like a realtor would. And it's, like I said, $199. I put in there 2.5% to any realtor that brings me a contract. And so they know that that they're getting paid, and that's about average these days, 2.5%, 3%. It's acceptable. And the realtors show the property and bring me a contract, and I also have the ability, and it goes automatically, it goes into Zillow and Realtor and all these online services, and I can always sell it myself as well, and just only owe the $199. So I feel like that's the best of both worlds, to get the most exposure and to have some control in terms of being able to sell it myself.
Absolutely.
And just,
so,
yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead. So just to add what Paul's saying, everyone, he's paying 2.5% realtor fee of $199, but I'm not sure what that fee is. You know, don't be looking to be the master of all trades. Don't be a buyer. Don't be a fixer-upper, and don't be a realtor at the same time to try to save that 2.5%, 3%. You know, if you don't have that expertise, give it to a realtor, give it to a website. We also have a free MLS website called findthatflipdeal.com. It used to be for wholesalers. Now investors and landlords and property managers are placing their properties there. It's free for anybody to use. So put up your properties out there. If you want to find a property or sell your property, you could utilize that. But getting back to what Paul's saying, use a realtor to sell your property. They have that expertise. They know the market. They can help you with that for the newbies until you have a vested experience in that area, knowing what it could sell for, knowing markets. And if you have that capacity to sit there and show it and take 100 phone calls a day, but I believe that you should focus on your core business, which is either flipping or buying and holding, and not becoming a realtor.
Yeah, I strongly agree with that. I'm licensed, so that sort of comes easy for me. But definitely at the beginning, I just used a realtor, and it just, you know, you get a second opinion about value, and they sometimes see things that you may not, that by taking care of it helps you to sell it quicker. So yeah, I agree with everything you said.
Absolutely. You know, we do what we do every day. The realtors are looking at the market every day, and we got to trust them a little bit. So, Paul, that brings me to my next question. When you're ready to bring a property to the market, who sets your pricing? Is it you? Is it your realtor? Or is it a mixture of both?
Did you say who sets my pricing?
Yeah, who determines what you're going to set the list price at in order to make sure that you're getting the highest potential offer?
Yeah, so, you know, I've had other agents come in and give me their opinion, but mainly because of the fact that I am a realtor, I do go into the multiple listing. I see what's selling that's similar to mine, including the condition. And, you know, sometimes, like I'll give you an example, this one I sold over the weekend, you know, I had an appraisal on it, and the appraiser came in at 195, and the house was just gorgeous when it was done. and I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm seeing, look, you know, I see people are selling things not as gorgeous as this house, but similar in size for around 2.25. So I said, I'm not going to go with the appraiser at 195. Let me see if, you know, follow my own instinct, which was about 2.25. I put it on the market for 229.9, and it sold for full price. So, yeah, don't just go by the appraiser. Have a real estate agent do a comparative analysis and let him show you what's selling and why he wants to list it for that. Just be careful. Some realtors want to list it a little bit low so they could sell it quicker.
Absolutely. And the key words there is, he said, is let them show you. Don't let them tell you. You could tell me what you want me to price it at when you show me the proof and what's there. Make sure you're looking over the comps, you're understanding where they're coming from, and if it makes sense and you agree with them, obviously you feel free to do what you got to do. But Paul, I'm going to let you, is there anything else that you want to share with everybody before we open up to question and answers?
Just one other thing. You know, when you're buying a house, and I'll use this last example, I'm buying this house for $40,000 and I sold it for $229.9. Make sure your contractor is pulling permits, because when it goes to the attorneys are going to say, you know, why are you selling this for so much money? And what kind of work did you do? And did you get permits? And you want to make sure you have permits that you could show.
Very good point. Very good point. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to let everybody open up for question and answer. So use the comment section, right? If you have a question for Paul, whether it's regarding to fixing and flipping, whether it's for Martin in regards to financing, or maybe even it's something just real estate related that you had a question about, feel free. We'll leave about 10 minutes open for that.
So until the questions start coming in, I just want to say that, you know, Paul, like I'm working on a house buying in South Jersey, and the prices, if they're listing it for 7, is a bidding war right now. So the prices in some areas are going down dramatically in some cities, in some states, in some counties, but hot areas, the prices, if they're listing it for 7, there's a bidding war for 750 to 800,000. It's good for some investors because they know that they could price it low and get high also, and that's what some realtors are doing as well. So sometimes if your realtor is saying, you know what, we can get 8, but I'm going to price it for 7, it's going to be a bidding war that you may even get over 800,000 in a hot area that's not volatile to the market, in demand, high-priced homes. So that's something that everybody should know about.
Absolutely. He's not wrong. It's price plus exposure equals results. So it's not just getting the property out there with everybody in the market and making sure that everybody knows. It's also about making sure that you're, again, pricing, you're fitting into the right bracket, exposure, and you should get the right results.
So if anybody has any questions over here before we end this webinar, and I want to thank everybody that's coming on here, getting some insight, education, resources. And like I said, if there's any questions that you have for us now or after, if you want to give us a call, we'll take your calls, we'll answer your questions, whether it's about a property details, specs to the numbers, if it makes sense with our consultative approach. It's free. Use us. Call us. Don't be afraid. You know, we got a lot of, you know, clients out there that are calling us, you know, oh, the lender's willing to give me the money and I'm not sure I want to do it. And sometimes we said, you know what, it's not making any money. Why would you put in $50,000 just to make $2,000 or $3,000? There isn't a lender really that's going to do it. I don't know why they even got some offers, but that's what we're here for, to provide you with that insight, that economics, letting you know what that potential gain and the ROIs are, and with that consultative approach of where the market trends are going. And look, if you want to keep the property after that, we want to hear that, because we'll let you know if it's better to keep it, sell it, rent it, or whatever it may be. You don't have to utilize it. You don't have to use our advice. It's just something that's there for you as our investors. So again, we work with newbies, we work with experienced borrowers, we do long-term financing, short-term financing. The only thing we don't do is permanent for your permanent home, your primary home. So we have a question over here. Do you guys do creative financing in North New Jersey? Not sure what creative means. Right now, mid-COVID, we're maxing out at 80% of the purchase, 100% of the renovation, not to exceed 65% of the after repair value. Post-COVID, we're at 90%, 100 of the reno, and 70, 75. And like I said, we would even possibly entertain a joint venture for any deals that are very strong profit margins out there. We'll consider that for the investors who don't have the liquidity but have a great deal out there. We're willing to entertain that as well too. We could provide lines of credit, proof of funds. You want to give them out to your realtors, your bankers, your lawyers, your sellers. So we can provide you with that as well too. And a lot of other resources, like I said before, title, insurance, lawyer, wholesalers to find properties. Anything else that you could say, suggest, Max, to connect them to?
I mean, really, the biggest value I see is getting our economics, which is going to break down your deal for you. It puts you in a position to really understand your deal, not on a physical level, but more on a monetary level, and get a bird's eye view. How much money do I need for this deal walking in? How much of that is my reserves? How much of that is leaving my bank account and going to the seller? How much do I need to expect to pay every month in my payments? What is my cost going to cost for title insurance and yada, yada, yada. So this is going to really break down your deal for you. Feel free, reach out to us with any deal you have. We will give you a free economics and go through your deal with you. Any other questions we have before we end the webinar?
So I just want to add also, for anybody that doesn't know, we have other future events coming up. If you look at our website, expresscapitalfinancing.com, you will see other webinars that are coming up that we're having. And if anybody is seeking out to become a loan officer with our company, we provide training, back office support. As long as you have real estate or financing experience, at least 1 year, we are looking for a loan officer to represent us in New York or New Jersey, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, somewhere locally nearby. So we could offer that as well, too, if anybody out there.
Absolutely. And speaking about the webinars, we have one coming up on this Thursday. We're looking to see all of you there. We're going to be with Acres Title and Kevin Clark, who's another financing guy, who's going to go pretty much into our experiences, what we're doing post-COVID, how financing has changed, you know, if it has at all. And we'll go deep into all of that. So I'm going to let everybody go. It's been a lot of fun being here with you all.
Good. So, guys, I just want to say COVID's going to be over 6 months, a year. The prices are going to only go higher. So are you looking to get into real estate and make money now? Learn, make the money now. For the newbies, are you going to make mistakes? Of course, everybody makes mistakes in life. But from those mistakes, you'll learn. And then they're not going to become mistakes. It's just going to become a learning tool for you never to do those again. And you're going to make those mistakes into a positive result for you to make better money. Like Paul said, in 2015, he did X, Y, and Z. But now in 2020, he's doing ABC. He knows better what to do. So by going into those pitfalls, you're going to eventually not going into those pitfalls and be making those positive results into your creating wealth in real estate. So there are very few lenders out there. We are taking a risk before. We are taking a greater risk more than ever now. However, we are vetting out everybody carefully. We use a common sense approach. So please don't be afraid to give us a call. We're here to help you and guide you in any way possible, whether you use us or not. And we're here. But the best time to get into the market is now, while the prices are low.
Absolutely. One thing he said is fail and fail fast. Learn 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb, and you'll know the one way to make one. So I'm very happy everyone's here. It was a lot of fun. We learned a lot. Thank you so much, Paul, for all your insight and your time. It's been always a pleasure doing business with you, and I'm looking forward to doing a lot more. And I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of your faces here that are from our attendees to hopefully do some deals this year also. So reach out to us. We'll make sure we send a copy of this webinar with everyone's contact information via email. So look out for it and reach out. Take care.
And I got one more. Okay, that's it. All right. Thank you, everyone. Good night.